And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Auzom Premier League. This is Lobby 1, and we've just seen TSM pick up their first chicken dinner of the day. I'm Lee Deman-Smith, and joining me is Cameron Davis once again for this second map of Erangel of 4 tonight, and it is a fairly easterly plain. Does give a spread, but it also gives question to where TSM are going to go. It gives them a full-on decision. Do you go North Georgia or do you go Yasnaya right now?
Yeah, I don't. God, these first two planes have been a little brutal. I wonder if we're gonna get the full every single quadrant of the map is gonna get punished. But yeah, that's the real question about TSM. How they're going to use Naya and Knights as well, going around Mansion. Even Vitality and FaZe going to their Milta Power respectively is going to be a question. I wonder if any of them drop early for boats, perhaps, of those final two specifically. Actually, FaZe are in the air above Rozok, so they could be trying to fight for cars around this area as well to drive down to Milta Power. It's an interesting decision.
Oh, that's interesting. So, well, okay, so we've obviously had similar to this, and obviously with the Knights being in server, the amount of times they've dropped and been challenging the Knights for cars, and it's kind of gone badly to them. Like where Dre and Survivor are right now, obviously you got this little compound the Cup of Magic actually is going to get to first. I've seen a number of times where like FaZe are dropping, but they're dropping just behind Knights and missing out on the cars, and suddenly they're long distance to travel. I'm pretty sure that was the game that Rogue decided to rotate directly through Vitality and FaZe, actually. Hate to go back on that one. But yeah, look at this. I mean, they're basically around school, right? They're going to get the trike there for Mexi. Avian's going to try and see it, and I think he'd be very surprised to find out that's FaZe that's right next to him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you guys doing this far north? What is this? Doesn't make any sense. Instead, he's still in the air, just above them, trying to find a vehicle of his own. I think he has eyes on one, which is why he's flying so far north. And there's often a vehicle spawn at that area of the map as well. So he should be able to find all of these. Voxic does get one of his own. You can see just barely inside that garage of a Dacia. So he has one that him and his team can use if they want to. I'm assuming they're going to rotate over to Mansion now with these as well. They're not going to be sticking around here.
Yeah, well,
but they could.
Way down south,
they
yeah.
kind of could. Those two players, they could do like the old school Liquid loot rotation.
I think that was a very clever choice because look, you got Vitality down the south. They've all got the vehicles. You got Knights, obviously, that were coming in and around the middle area, so they're all getting vehicles. And FaZe have clean dropped, got themselves all the vehicles. I only see 3 of them here, actually. I don't know where the 4th one is or whether he didn't get in the server. YMT is missing. Circle, though, has swung up to the north in towards pretty much Georgia Pole, sort of central area. So Digital Chaos, as I was about to say, will be lacking vehicles, but it's actually not too bad for them now because the Circle's gone their way. Did I just see Larry from 1 in North Georgia? I think I did.
Yeah, I think 1 are in North Georgia as well, just because that plane route is really bad for a lot of teams. So you can see not only 1, but also TSM adjusting their plane route. TSM going back to North Georgia strictly because of the plane. Not wanting to make that long drop or even fight for vehicles around Yasnaya. And it actually has worked out for them because you can see in that first circle, it's still on this area of the map. And so TSM and all the other teams around here are going to have a really good time. But I think we were talking in between about TSM and just about how they have adjustments on where their drop points are and about how it's actually kind of becoming the norm for a lot of these different teams.
Yeah, they're starting to obviously switch up. We saw them go in Yasnaya. Now we see, actually, ironically, I think that's why 1 have gone into North Georgia because they probably just looked at the last video and said TSM are not here. Probably now going to be like, oh, who's this dropping north then? It's like TSM's back. But this is
Vanguard?
What we're starting to see, right? Different metas adjusting from like the olden days when everybody's set in their ways in the leagues and it's the same teams, the same invites. So everybody's got their own little corner of space. Now we're starting to get adjustments across, the multiple leagues and lands and everything that's happening. Teams are having to be adaptive, and it's a good thing. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah. It means that teams, they have to think about the game and kind of like counter strat each other in a sense. But even not only do we have multiple leagues, which comprise of a variety of different teams, even within the same league, like looking at GLL specifically, constantly changing what teams are in what lobby at once. And even Auzom, in their early days, had a lot of that as well. A little bit of adjustment between the two tiers. you should say. And so that just means that like teams, you really have to have a plan B and oftentimes even a plan C that you're good at. Because originally it's just like, oh, we can drop here, we know how to loot this effectively, but everywhere else we're still a little lost. You got to know a variety of different drop points because it's affected not only by the plane path that we see here, but also who you're, all the other teams that you're going to be dropping with.
Well, we can see the teams already going for those early rotations. It's what we've sort of developed and expected from the guys. Did he just lose the left tire?
I don't know.
I think he did. No.
Nope.
No. Okay. It seemed like it like swung to the left. I thought he just.
They left the handbrake on.
It's like, God damn it, French drivers. Yuki going off in the distance to THG there. Millennium making the rotations fairly early. And going back to one, actually, obviously, formerly Vexed, they're another team that, did very well as they were Vexed. They've come across to one and stuttered out a little bit. They've also obviously been contested, so it's a nice adjustment for them because they do normally go to the Ruins and Watertown where Millennium are going. They were expecting it. They were kind of caught short in the last game. You think of one guy was like randomly in Rozhok, one was way up north. They were kind of splintered all over the place. So it's a good choice that they've made. It's good to see they've made an adjustment in between the single games because often you'll see teams that will make adjustments like 2-3 games later, not just one instant game straight swap.
Yeah, and it's a little hard deciding when to make adjustments like that, just because it could be a one-time thing in one single game. But it definitely the adaptation that a lot of teams are starting to recognize. You can't just play your game over. This isn't matchmaking. You can't just play your game over and over again, and 9 times out of 10 it'll work.
I think Brake's going to get himself a crate.
Yeah,
let's see if he continues. It can see it is in the distance, but it is fairly open. That road territory, but it looks like he's going to keep on running. He's hopping and skipping. Looks like he's pretty excited about it.
Yippee! Wowee! What's inside this?
Okay, that's not bad. Grows up, but you'd have been happier if there was a vest or a helmet in there, I think. But
yeah,
it's not the best of grades, but it grows up. Decent weapon. It is way up in Zaki, so he knew it was pretty free, I guess. This early on. Okay, we talk about this northern circle. There's a knock there. I can see Raptor to Raptor's been popped out. So Zook and Nam, who actually globally are in a very good position in Elson, by the way. They're in 6th place overall, or were before TSM's victory a moment ago. I think they're still in and around there. But Stab pushing in. Good to see 8C performing as well once again for Method. Wasn't sure whether he was sticking with them or what was going on there, but happy to see 8C back in the game.
Yeah, that's definitely good. Method is, I mean, I don't know if when to assume a team is like a roster move is permitted or not for Method at this point, because I know Andy has expressed online a couple of times about how he's still playing in these leagues, of course, but how he's been putting too much pressure on himself, and he's not going to like focus 100% on Method right now, and it's going to be a little bit until he, I guess, decides whether or not to. Well, I don't know whether or not. I don't know. My point is that they've been moving around a lot, and there's a lot of subs in, and I think Andy's really the only solid player on Method right now, and nothing I don't think is going to be finalized until a little bit on out.
The FC Ispo guy is choosing to go Miami Vice style in and around the coastline. There is a decent portion of water up towards the Georgia Pole Bay, but I don't think it's going to be centering that point. It looks like it's going to continue further north as Digital Chaos make their way across towards the central points. I wonder if this is going to swing shooting range, actually. We've had a couple in and around the area. We've also had a couple, actually, you guys had some way up in Zaki way over in PGO. You had some wild circles in PGO.
Yeah, the final game was up in Zarki, and I actually really like that area. It's a rare area for the circle to end on, but that Zarki field, I think I hate fields, but that field you can actually work around. And so I really like endings around that area. We actually saw Groovy have an amazing run in that area, which is what allowed them to swing up into 2nd place, overtaking FaZe.
Yeah, man, 1 kill difference. That's gotta be painful for them, though, right?
Oh, that was brutal. I mean, they were, I think, 4th leading into that final game. So that's still, like, nonetheless, still a very good run to get all the way up into 2nd.
Yeah, man. Over the distance. Oh, Fausto got knocked and taken down by Damian from Millennium. Chronix also finding one from Alliance. It's Digital Chaos we're looking at here. Newen has just took a divert, and he's going in towards the Millennium guys. So they choose to try and knock this one and realize Ewan's gone down. They're going to have to quickly pull away. So Digital Chaos losing 2 early on, I believe, there to Millennium.
Yeah, that's really, really bad. But that's also a very nice split by Millennium to catch out expected rotations through that area. It's not a very standard 2-2 split that you can see. I think the 2 on the southeastern edge of that split were actually just on a hillside, but it ended up working up very well, and that kind of puts Digital Chaos having to run down into that little tunnel just to kind of hide out because they're really scared right now. Circle shrinking. Now we see the far rotations come in. FaZe and Vitality, as well as Exalt Gaming in the farm area and Alliance not too far off. They're obviously making a late rotation because they had to late drop. And then with the swing back that far rotation, they want to stick around and loot for as long as possible. But there go FaZe on their patented northern swing.
Yeah, then Vitality will probably follow it. I've noticed they've started to do a similar, but they have to stall out because they need to make sure they don't like bump into the back of FaZe, right? But it is a wide swing that they're going to have to make. Rogue themselves, of course, who are coming from Sosnovka, kind of blasting it sort of straight in over that bridge. It was a ballsy move. They've gone over the bridge by crates, so choosing to make the way in. Yannick, of course, in this 2-seater, choosing to lead the way and scout it up. They're going to pull up just on the top of this hill and check out the area as the first circle will collapse in. Vitality's rotations, they've been questionable. I think that's really where they've struggled because there's no question in their aim, right? They've got the aim. They've got, when it comes to aggressive play and even sieging, Vitality are one of the top teams that can do it. But they have found themselves in this tricky position, and it's a hard one, right? Because when they go in Milta, obviously that's everyone knows that's their territory. You can't go to the right because FaZe are there, so you just don't. It's not worth risking it. So that cuts off sort of that northern coastline rotation along the west coast. So then they have to sort of go a little more inland, and then they're really coming into kind of unknown territory, and that's where they've been getting caught out. Like we just saw them go over the bridge by Rozhok. Now, where Alliance are going over right now, that is often camped, that sort of area. And now they go up in the side. And then they're going to run into trouble in the hills because there could be teams that have rotated so early and got themselves on compounds, and they're coming in late. And it's just so many times they're bumping into people and maybe losing one here or one there, and that's costing them.
Yeah, I actually think that if they continue to struggle with learning how to properly do these late rotations in the way that FaZe does. Actually, let me hold on a second right now because Method are going to be running directly into Rogue. Andy taking a lot of damage, already getting shot out of his vehicle. Nice Chris and Stab able to divert their own path, but fourth 8C trying to drive through. He's taking a lot of bullets. So Method, for now, it seems that they only lost 1, but losing Andy's pretty big because he's a really good player. It's
also the team is focused around Andy often, so I'm always interested to see how Method perform when he goes down because there's such a focal point, and you can see that they're struggling to find a home right now. They're getting shot at from multiple angles everywhere they pass through. Chris is going to blast it across, but he can't pull up by that rock, and he's going to find another one down. Stabs on absolutely nothing. Will get out of the line of fire, but next to nothing. Yes, AC blasting past the other direction. They're just trying to get away. Now, he can't come in here because there's 2 people. Digital Chaos are down in there at the moment.
They hear the bike stop. They have their sights trained directly on that staircase, but luckily, Stab doesn't go downstairs. He's just going to hang out on top to res up the minute he can. Don't know if that was because he expected someone to be down, and
as soon as he sees that UAS, he's going to be like, uh-oh.
But I don't know if he's going to see the UAS before his feet are spotted.
Yeah, Avian's on prone, isn't he? He's prone spot.
Yeah. He has a nice small little angle exactly through this box. It's a very nice tight pixel peak, if you will. And so I think he's going to spot Stab's feet before Stab spots Dacia. But Stab seems to be...
He's just decided
he
not worth the risk.
Yeah, he recognizes the risk on that. He's all healed up now at this point, or mostly, and the rest of his heal is currently reviving through an energy drink.
That's like spider senses tingling. Sort of thing there. He's just like, not sure if safe.
No, he did the opposite. He did the opposite.
Oh, no.
I thought he ran away, but he was actually just bringing the bike in. Oh, no.
For a moment, we thought he We thought he'd read the situation so well. It was complete opposite. He was like, I'm going in.
I'm going in, boys. Let's do this. All right. Whoa.
Oh,
Method, they're now
dear.
down to 1.
Oh my word. Okay, the Knights up on the hillside. Alliance try and pass on by. Their Alliance have struggled of late, I would say, with their results. Are they going to post up in the shack? Now they're going to have to keep going. There's not really too much more land to go. They're going to be finding themselves in the water. Tripoli and the boys from Lumbermill will catch them going by. As Froz will also disappear. Oh my God, and they're going straight into phase. They can't find a spot. I think they got in the shack though, just about.
Just barely, but their car is about to be taking some heavy damage. And now Froz comes up, but taking some shots back. This is going to push Buzzface back temporarily. Reminding them not to overpeak this, but a level 3 helmet's pretty good item to work with. Froz takes a little bit of damage, but he makes his own way inside the hut. I think there's another team just to the southwest of Alliance. Yeah, that's going to be Lumbermill, who can take some shots onto them as well.
So Vitality coming in and actually getting a bit of revenge on Rogue. Rogue were the ones that basically upset them yesterday, right? Vitality needed to have like a massive game in GLL to get themselves anywhere last night, and it just wasn't to be. And it was Rogue that was the upsetting force for them, because they had 2 massive games in the first games, and Vitality needed to like post an 1100 point night, and it just wasn't their way. So I think they'd like to get Rogue back, because Rogue picked them apart. Actually, in a similar area, it was just a bit further north of here, as they were trying to come across the road, and Rogue were keeping them in situations. But that's an interesting swing. Okay, so we have the fields where Tommy is right now, which has got a decent ridge either way of that road. So I don't really know. There's that one compound that FC Espo probably going to get into. It's very strong for this situation. But there's a couple of ridge lines. Digital Chaos are going to have that little hillside, but there's a lot of teams that got to find some spots, and there's not too many spots to take in this area.
So it's interesting that Diamond Dogs are going into that kind of central statue rock face in the middle of that Zarky field. I really like that spot, but the fact that it's so far on the edge, I think it may be too much of a commitment to take that spot right now so early into the game when the circle is still so big, because if the next circle swings off of it, the question is on it, are they going to have a good rotation out of it? But speaking of rotation, CSM, they're just rotating through an open field, lack of vehicles, but Udyr Mayfire, he takes some heavy damage.
Oh, look who's coming behind them, though.
Face by Smack, but yeah, Brexco, once again, on a very nice push out, trying to go really aggressive. Don't know if they spotted the more forward 2 TSM players. That may be huge, but it's actually going to be
one on top of them.
Entirely.
One are coming straight up the hill. Exalt is just getting pushed by TSM and One, because they were taking the shots, and this is actually buying TSM time, right? To get across that open space. One get involved and basically saving TSM in the open. Chronics will get taken down. Raz in the end on the flank there. But now One, with 4 players alive, are about to come over the brow of the hill, and TSM are directly there. They've got to have heard all these shots, but they're so open.
Yeah, they definitely knew there was action happening. But Raz, he didn't spot out Rory, and Rory gets the nice drop on him. So it's the start for something here. Break comes up on the southern side, try and pencil them in, but Smack's continue. Okay, now Smack turns around to try and fight back, but Break does get a drop with that Groza. And so already with 2 down, TSM, they want to get to that compound. They don't want to find open territory, but because of that, Smack does get taken out by a nade.
So they're going to come behind them. Break, he's got to back away from this one. Rory's low, he's got to heal himself up. APR in the distance. The good thing for them now is they only need to worry about their backs. They're going to lose Smack, it seems. I don't think he's going to be able to get alive. But with Raz down as well, it was a fair trade between the 2. Considering TSM's position going across that open field, I think they've got away pretty lightly there.
Yeah, exactly. One really saved them. He said, "You know what? You guys can take Smack. That's your that's your debt that we owe you for that, for saving us. And now we get this compound." And this actually puts TSM in a very nice spot into this next circle as well. So I think they should be more than happy giving up Snack for this position, considering the fact that they had to make a rotation on foot through a field without any vehicles.
So Digital Care is still down in their bunker. The 2 alive. Rogue are actually above them, in and out of that bunker. So like the little tunnel web spider ready to pounce if anybody else comes back in there. The Knights are finding themselves some kills. That is Lumbermill over on the eastern side here, and that is a wipe. Lumbermill down, Knights picking up the kills there. So 3 members of Knights still, 4 members actually. There's Voxic on the outside.
That was
now
Vitality
coming in on the south side. So One just sort of like coming as the punching bag at the moment, effectively.
Yeah, Vitality, Rogue seem to actually have been able to retreat from Vitality, but here comes Vitality trying to make the run in, perhaps have their eyes set on TSM's compound. That's going to be a very hard take if they want to go for it. Currently chilling just on top of the hill. They don't want to overcommit to anything, using that tiny little lip of the hillside to hide from a lot of cover.
TSM safe in their compound. It's the Team Liquid compound, right? From back from when Scoom went off. Huge in Oakland long time ago. But that's a big circle shift. It's going to shift to the north and does give Zook Nam a very good spot, who are in the compound north. Digital Chaos, of course, still happy inside their little bunker with Rogue on top of them. It does mean towards the south, as we see Tommy try and blast past FaZe, we've got I think 4 teams all going to be stacking into the same area. You can see Millennium here, TSM here, Vitality there, and one. And they're all going to be kind of into this ridge line, this hillside where the crate is. There's like a little ridge line, and that's the end of the ridge line. This is actually the same area where a Vanguard at Katowice went huge.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. But FaZe, they're doing a nice job onto the west side, trying to punish a lot of rotations through. They got some shots onto Tommy, and they even got a full kill on another player as well. But this southern side, as you pointed out, it's gonna be a little interesting to see how this plays out if all these teams decide to just run up north. Millennium, versus Vitality. Nice couple of initial shots onto Shiv.
The battle of the French, Millennium versus Vitality. A lot of fans for Millennium as well. Vitality, though, they far more successful, although all the late, Millennium have been posting some very good results. I've seen the Killfeed Knights continue to get their way. Standard Knights performance from them, but it's Millennium versus Vitality that we want to watch here, as Shadow got himself very low on the side. They're going for a left flank here, coming around the side. Shiv's going to be in a perfect position. He's going to get a wrap around behind that tree. He should get a good angle on Sesko, but THC looks like he's reading the situation.
Yeah, very nice use of the terrain, but as you said, Millennium, they're aware of their blind spot, and so they're prepared for any potential flank around the side, because Vitality, they stopped peeking out from behind those trees in the old position, so they know they've rotated elsewhere. Nice nades actually going to come in to deal some heavy damage to Vitality. Actually got dropped down. Shadow got taken down to half HP, but Shiv's still on the forefront, spotting out, wants to go aggressive, finds the tree, finds a couple of shots on to Yuki and drops him down. Actually, his old teammate. THC comes in, perhaps for the revive or for at least the assist, swinging down south.
And look at the mini-map. Look at the areas. You can see one and TSM. They're kind of trying to take a wide berth because they're hearing all these nades and shots, and they're just like, we don't want to get involved on that hillside battle. We see who is up there. They're not too sure because obviously FaZe in the kill feed as well, so they're not really 100% sure who is up there. Whether obviously they do see FaZe and Vitality. Oh, how did a Rockstays not land them shots? They looked like they were perfectly on them, but it's THZ that will swing it back in their favor. They're also looking down and managing to forget shots onto TSM, so TSM are getting drawn into this one now as Vitality shift. Oh, how did he live there? He gets the wipe, and Millennium will go down to Vitality.
Yeah, the question is, are TSM now going to push up onto this, recognizing that a fight just ended? If they want to push and potentially catch out any struggling survivors, it looks like they just want to find their own way to the circle first. They don't want to push for anything just yet. There's still 12 teams alive, and so if it were to fail, they'd be going out pretty early in this, and so they don't want to overcommit to anything right now. They have a nice spot onto the side, or to the southwest side, but here comes Niels crawling forward from one. Shiv does get taken out, I believe, by TSM. They peeked over.
One Monkey. He's going to try and run from this one. Niels is creeping up on them, and Monkey is the last man standing for Vitality. Out on the right-hand side, I think Larry is also holding the angle to watch anybody coming down the hill, so he's posted up against this tree, but Niels has got really only one way to crawl, and it's going to go straight towards Monkey, but Monkey sees him. Monkey sees, Monkey does, and will take him down, but Vitality down to one.
And he's actually going to be running directly into Larry. Larry knows where his position is after his teammate got taken out. Don't know if he's hearing any footsteps just yet, but he definitely sees him come up and just waiting for the solid hip fire, not even bothering to scope in. And in fact, he even waited a couple of moments just so the loot would be right on top of him and he wouldn't have to move. It's peak efficiency.
The Knights, they've still got 4 alive, and they have been destroying people slowly on this right-hand side. They're kind of in the gatekeepers of the East, effectively. FaZe, they went for the hillside that won them the final game of Katowice, I want to say. but it hasn't gone that way. It is going to go towards the coastline. So you got to look at the likes of Diamond Dogs, who are actually on the coastline edge already, have a very good position, but the breach is coming. Zuktatnam in there already, and there is a knock as well. It's I think it's Voxic that just got the knock on them. So Knights setting this one up nicely as FaZe blast full of water.
Oh, this is disappointing. FaZe, they're not the team to expect to go for water, but considering there is virtually nothing else left on this, but the Knights, they want to go for the full breach. They're going to fight for a place in the circle. They're going to fight for this last remaining compound, but they have to go upstairs. They spot where one of the players is and actually go for the engagement. Here comes the swing up from the side. Trades back and forth, and it's actually going to be a 2-for-1, and Drayden turns it all in their way. He's the last remaining player from Knights, but the fact that he's able to win out that run out the side from the second member of Lumbermill, you think would have been more than enough. Oh, sorry, Zuktatnam, think would have been more than enough. But he's able to turn it back in their favor. But holding this down as a single player is going to be the next tall task ahead of him.
Oh, I thought FC Eastbo were going to push it. I thought they were just going to see the kill feed.
Yeah.
And think, you know what? Let's go for this because, well, Voxic luckily is still alive for Knights, but losing 2 in a 3v1 scenario on the stairs like that is less than ideal. Oh man, that was not pretty to watch. It's one of those moments when you're kind of getting in each other's way. APL though from TSM pushing up on FC Eastbo here. Rory does get knocked again. He's been taken down again. APL gets dropped. Digger's going to get the spray down, and TSM are eliminated in 9th place. No chicken dinner this time.
Yeah, very unfortunate run from them. There weren't many options for them to use, and they ended up walking to a crossfire between not just FCE, but also from Diamond Dogs just to the north. And it was actually Ultrazar that got 2 of those kills onto TSM. But FCE, they have their eyes set on IM. Larry trying to run in. Prone's down. Oh, no, actually takes some shots trying to get a kill before he gets taken out. And he actually is able to do so. That's a couple extra points before he's dropped out in 8th place.
Just the knock. Voxic still.
Wait.
Popping shots off.
Knights aren't dead?
No. Knights, they got their Voxic and Dre. So it was Voxic was the one that stayed out long. He was the one that got the initial knock, which is why they pushed it. Avian way out in the blue there, tanking it on this 6th circle. That's not going to be a pretty sight for him. Doesn't really have a great deal of options. So Knights actually, Voxic's going to push up and join his teammate Dre in there. I think Dre and Voxic are actually, I think they're like certainly 1st and 3rd highest fraggers in the entirety of auzom. So not bad people to have alive.
I think that medkit may have been just a little bit too late. And yeah, Digital Chaos is going to bleed out, go out in 7th place, up to the top 6. 8C's still alive. Method took a lot of damage early and just in the water because it stayed in the circle. He hasn't had to move around a lot. And I like this from FaZe though. They're not swimming. They're just down on the coastline, and it's not the best place to be in, but it's better than a lot of other options, especially because water is, I think, more than half of this current circle. You hardly ever see circle this prevalent in water this late into the game, but that's going to make this coastline very powerful.
It's gone. I mean, they've got the 2 complexes, and they've got the 2 perfect complexes. That's a strong complex in itself, but now he's just pushed forward, knowing that there's going to be people on that coastline and taking a little Harry Potter. That's going to be massive for them. The Diamond Dogs are going to move up. You can see they're going to creep along. As you mentioned, FaZe. I'm not sure whether FaZe can actually get up there. That's the problem, right? If the circle swings away from it, at the moment, it's a 50-50 where it's going to go water or in the water coastline, or whether it's going to go towards the complex that Knights hold. You got FC Eastbo and 8C in there as well. So the 6 teams alive. Obviously, the majority of them are down here. I think FC Eastbo still trying to make the run. Yeah, it's going to get the knock. So that was Digger going down, the captain for FC Eastbo. Tom Along boys getting themselves up there. So another decent top 6, top 5 potentially for the Diamond Dogs here.
Yeah, and they have all 3 alive, and so they could potentially even take first at this point. Really, the teams that you're kind of like, yeah, just go out anyway. Or Alliance, FCE, and Method. See if they can get picked off by FaZe.
They have got up. Okay, nice. So that's actually gives FaZe a strong spot, right? Just a single knock on Voxic, you could turn the game.
Yeah. He got a level 3, so he can peek up. I don't know how damaged it is, but at least for the initial shot, it should protect from most weaponry. So that means that if he does go into a 1v1 peak war against Voxic and he even just trades on shots, FaZe could just make that run up using the tower to hide their silhouettes from the other player from Knights. And
nice spread from FaZe there. They got you got first FaZe up on high looking east, I should say. And I think it's Haxetti looking west. And there's one down low that's just keeping their eye on the water, like catching anyone that tries to come out. Ultra does find himself one, so we're down to the top 5 now. As I think it was 80 that just went down there. Mexi is going to find himself Alliance. So Alliance go down, Sigsy's picked off there, and suddenly we're down to 3. FC Ispo go down. So just like that, all the single players have been eliminated. We've got 2 members of Knights, 3 members of Diamond Dogs, and 3 members of FaZe as the circle makes FaZe move.
Yeah, and they actually need to go for this play right now. They need to take out that Knights player in the tower. And Fuzzface, the only one with the helmet, is the only one who's really able to go for that fight. But Mixie, they actually have their eyes set on Diamond Dogs instead, trying to go get that top 2, and he spots them swimming. Can't exactly land all the shots because Tommy is there to add some covering fire to Ultra and to Fraser. Mixie swinging around the side, trying to find another angle. Don't know if he spotted Tommy jumping into the water.
Don't know how much of what Mex is doing here is trying to delay them and trying to draw their attention while the rest of the guys creep up on them. Because he seems to be wide peeking and not shooting. He's almost like trying to draw their attention to him, right? You can see him just like peeking out. Because he had a couple of chances there on Tommy that he could have took the shot and didn't go for it. He was just sort of sighting him up and then not shooting.
He may be out of ammo. Well, this is
That's true, actually. I didn't think to look at that. It's totally possible.
Oh, he actually has taken out Tommy with his 22 rounds, and the Scar does drop out Mixie. Fuzzface trying to go for the revive. Actually, no, it's a nade in hand.
Oh, he's got a right up close.
4 push up.
That's a fast push from Tommy. That's nice work from him. Fuzzface is going to go for the revive, and Tommy can just come around and catch him with his pants down, around his ankles on the beach here. Is he going to wants to go above the rock, and he can't. It's not allowing him to. He's got to be careful. Too much shuffling doesn't work out. Now maybe he's delayed a little too long, as Mexi will get up, and he's getting the heel off. Tommy has missed his chance. A knock does come back in there from Ultra. Now he sees him. Tommy goes for it, goes across the top, but Fuzzface was ready and waited.
Oh, but Fuzzface is walking out into... Oh, okay, so he's able to avoid the rest of Diamond Dogs. Doesn't want to revive his teammate. Well, he can't, because I think the teammate is just fully dead now to Diamond Dogs. Now it's a 2v2v2. While Mixie has no choice but to bleed out in this situation right now. Like to be Ultrazar, who finishes off that kill for himself.
You've got to believe this game's got to go the way of Knights, right? These are going to eliminate themselves on this rock line, and the Knights, while they're probably frustrated right now because they're not involved in any of this, they're like, look,
14 total kills, that's it?
And there you go, the circle goes to the Harry Potter, so Voxic in there. FaZe actually in there as well. It's Diamond Dogs that need to make themselves a little adjustment.
Yeah, I expect Knights to leave Drayden on the roof.
14 kills. Holy shit.
Actually, yeah, I know. It's already looking pretty good for them. This is a pretty good number of kills for them. And they've been so kind of isolated from a lot of the action in this end game. You have to wonder if they were able to get any more. Ultra peeking over the top, trying to spot something, but Drayden's inside the larger building, trying to peek out from the window. They had this lip to use, and actually pushing forward onto FaZe, recognizing that getting a third right now is going to be easier than trying to push for that compound to getting a first. So they want to make sure that they take care of it. Oh, they got him first. But, peeking around the side. Fraser takes a lot of damage and is traded out by Haxetti. Haxetti gets the full... No, he doesn't, actually.
So close, but now he's got to drop down. He's in the open. He has to go for it, and Ultra will come out on top. The Diamond Dogs now find themselves in a 1v2 against Dre and Voxic. Voxic's actually come out of their Harry Potter, which is an interesting. He doesn't have a window facing this direction, so he's just not happy with his position. This is aggressive stuff. They see there's only 3 alive, so they know they are in an advantageous position. Dre's got the Overwatch position effectively on the right-hand side as Voxic peeks the left. Ultra, as soon as he shows his head, I think he's still not peeking just yet. They're going to know exactly where he is. 14 kills. Can they make it 15?
Blue comes in. Drayden actually takes a lot of damage to the blue, and he's about to fall to the play zone. This actually gives Ultra a nice 1v1. Peeks out, spots Voxic, but Vox does stabilize it, and they are going to get the 15-kill win. The Knights come out, taking first place in game number 2, but a nice solid second and third to Diamond Dogs and FaZe, respectively.
That's a good response after a relatively poor performance in game number 1, and who else did we expect to be at the top of the kill feeds for Voxic and Drayden, the 2 guys that have been popping off throughout auzom Premier League so far. Solid performance from them. FaZe ever consistent, right? Second place the last game, third place once again, despite the fact I don't think even had Yempty in the game.
Yeah, not at all. So 6 kills with only 3 players is definitely a good performance. Obviously not like, yeah, they're top 5. FaZe getting top 5 is kind of just, I feel like it's kind of becoming a universal constant. It's just a fact of reality is that FaZe are going to be top 5. Doesn't matter.
Whether they're fighting or snaking, they're still going to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And that is, you can't deny that their strategy and their team play is really strong, but the fact that they're able to stabilize specifically Jempty as probably he's one of the best fraggers in the game, but he's also one of the best snakes in the game. It's very interesting that he's both of those. But you also have to you also can't recognize that that's one of the reasons why they're so consistent is the fact that they can play when they have a heavy advantage, but they also know how to play when they're kind of down.
The brutal game, though. I mean, the circle certainly shifted that way. You look down. I mean, we're seeing like Millennium, who were involved in that clash with Vitality on the hillside. And there were so many teams on that hillside. 14th for them, 13th for Rogue Vitality. All these teams were involved in that big old clash coming from the south and sort of banging into each other. TSM survived that, but unfortunately were took out by FC Espo in the open field, who themselves ended up in a 4th place for them. That is game 2 in the books. We're going to be moving on. 2 more games to go on Erangel here tonight. Join us for game number 3 in just a few.